This poem is called Council House, 1972. When I was about 3 years old, I drew a dress on the wall. What dress was it? Cinderella. When she turned, I'd never seen anything like it. Dress made for charming prince and fairy. I could manage the little sleeves, tiny waist rising out of skirts which laughed as they traveled with her across the ballroom floor. And they had stars woven in them. I got caught wondering how to draw that color, seacoast changing to dawn. There was trouble, but I didn't care. I knew it was the dress that saved her. All the rest was just a story. And this poem is called Bumpsters. I cut a path to the sacred, tired of suggestion. I turned her to the side, plumbed the plum, cupped her saucer, lowered the drape to her small place of want at the back. I touch where she pleases. I dropped something. I found something. This one, thanks. Thank you. This one's a short little collection, and it's got a Greek word at the beginning that means under the ground. And it's called McQueen Self-Portrait as Bestiary. So the first one is a raven. Fill myself with tonic things, always close to the underworld, but not of it. Too busy stealing and yanking information from every direction. Tick my satisfaction by seconds. Know the difference between raven and crow? Histrionics. My mind jabs, tilts. I love a clean line. Look at these bones, foil, bits of fur. I'll use my own feathers if I have to. You hear me? You hear me? You hear me? You hear me? And then the next one is snake, and they put it across the page so I can have these nice long lines. Snake. My ears are filled with all this sky. I make my way through your orchard, find the fallen, fermented, honor their use for my use. Every skin I leave behind, a flamboyance, a chronicle, each of them a yes, yes. And then I have a shorty, this is moth. I memory the cloud my mother spun. Around me, dirt birthed me. My soul thrusts in and out with all this rustling. Every night I must get hold of some brilliance. And then this is jellyfish, which is sort of my favorite. Jellyfish. The moon whispers like a sting in the sea. Feels like millions of years I've gathered and worried the thick current. Armorless, I am threaded with blades. The moon turns blue, murmurs no heart, no heart. I am a festival of longing. And the last one is hawk. Constellation skimming the unknown world, my velocity, a kind of screed. When from my highest perch, I keen the mouse's movement. And the mouse, who turns to peer up, sees only sun. I am the angel and the demon when I finish into him, which is all I want, to use the bright, to make quick destruction, to dive to it. And let's see, wait, thanks. I have a little series in here that I'm going to read one of. It's a bunch of sonnets, and I felt very inadequate when I started this project, so I didn't know anything about fashion or McQueen really till I read about his death. So one thing I did was transcribe a lot of interviews with the women that he dressed and that were his friends. And this is a sonnet in his voice, but it's made out of Naomi Campbell's words. It's called Bespoke. Who was I? Asking with women and concepts the whole butterfly night of the world, and why a wing in a mirror could interpret it, and the body's grief and courage. My life begins with every question I face. In each wild shape my surgery finds, when I call out my name with my touch. I know the deep privacy of the possibly lost. Am I meant to be tempted as I am? Unwrap intimacy, take its top off, go deeper to nerve and blood and calm. Everything feels wild, nothing feels young. I have found beauty, pulled back the cover, and in my time was some kind of wonder. And then I'm gonna do a couple more. This one is Savile Row, 1985. I am a cunt. I may have scrawled with chalk on the interlining of one of the coats I cut for that royal tab whose job it is to sit on his arse all day and get paid for it. Only O'Callahan has my polite side. At 16, I work as hard as any of them. Learned to not bite the thread, hold shears properly, fail, hope, fail, hope. Thimble on middle finger, how I push through canvas, horsehair, velvet. Dress coats, morning coats, jackets, trousers. At 17, I cut for perfection. Measured by instinct, rockabye is how we say it. My buttonholes, immaculate. Wool of untroubled sheep, drafted, cut, bundled. Not that I need talk of the world's grimness constantly, but some awareness would be nice. None of them here ever stole a sister's bra off the clothesline and wore it screaming down the streets. No one ever paid for it like I did. I sewed my sister's dresses when I was 10 because we could not afford to buy them. There's work and there's work. When they caught me, they pulled me down. A good story now. I had rather fight and scream than hide under my mother's bed. God, I'm hungry lately. I'm going to end with the title poem, House of McQueen. Thank you. Thanks. Ooh, I just got shivers. Okay, House of McQueen. This is made on the pattern of a poem by Basil Bunting. Blush, slash, shocks, callous London. Worth built his own house. Others consider cloth's ripple, want a red flare to flaunt. Finery's patterns indeed shift to threads. Line draws down inter silhouette. But while we live a while here, pattern and line gather, quiet, that is anything but quiet. Each time, dream delights, as if a small wing beats and leaves dance under our transient skins. Thank you.